Thank you. I want to commend Secretary Kennedy and the administration for putting forward less spending. And one of the reasons I think we need to look at NIH and other grant-making organizations is if you keep giving them the same amount, you'll keep getting the same frivolous grants. And I'll recite a couple of them so people can remember. $660,000 was given to study the impact of microaggressions on obesity-related eating in Latinx Americans. You know, really, maybe heart disease, diabetes, obesity, but eating disorders in Latinx Americans. Here's another one, $419,000 to study if lonely rats seek cocaine more than happy rats. Maybe we could eliminate that, and that could go to a real disease. Most recently, NIH recorded a $620,000 grant for LGBTQ plus inclusive teen pregnancy prevention program for transgender boys. And what they discovered was that girls who think they are boys are at least as likely to get pregnant as girls who think they are girls. Amazing, the science. But we should all agree that that's just left-wing ideology. That's not science. We should study obesity and cancer and diabetes. I commend you for shifting the balance. I have a specific question about closing down Fort Detrick recently. My understanding is that a contractor intentionally slashed the hazmat suit or the biosafety suit of someone who's handling Ebola. You were immediately attacked in the press by saying, oh, he's just anti-science, wants it in shutting down science. Was this a serious breach, and is it being investigated?
We brought in the FBI to investigate it. As you say, it appears like it was a deliberate criminal act to try to, that was a kind that is equivalent to attempted murder because the kind of microbe, the pathogens that they were handling have a very, very high case fatality rate, up to 50%. The disturbing thing about it is that there are 3 leaks a week globally from BSL-4 labs. And any of those could be cataclysmic for humanity. And as a result, we not only closed Fort Detrick, and we brought the FBI in to investigate that, we also declared the end of gain-of-function studies that will allow those kind of leaks to continue.
I commend you for that. I think ultimately legislation will be needed because the next administration could reverse it. I think there is bipartisan support for some controls on gain of function. As you shut down gain of function, though, you have to decide what it is, and then you have to look for it. So I would suggest that at both Fort Detrick and at the NBAC lab that's nearby, run by the DHS, that we look at experiments involving Ebola, avian flu, Marburg virus, to determine, one, whether they gain of function, but also just determine whether the experiments are wise. I am told in public records that they are doing experiments or have done experiments to aerosolize Ebola at the NBAC lab. That's the DHS lab nearby to Fort Detrick. My hope is that when you investigate whether to do gain of function or what is gain of function, what is being done, that you'll compile that and at least give us a report in Congress, and we're going to ask for it, but so there can be public scrutiny of these things. You will help to scrutinize it, but the whole public needs to know how dangerous some of these things are and whether we should be doing them. The idea of aerosolizing Ebola, I think, is, or training Ebola to be aerosolized is incredibly dangerous, probably goes against the Biological Weapons Convention, and I'd like to hear a little bit about whether or not, as you investigate this, you plan on bringing information back to Congress or to the public.
Yeah, we're going to be absolutely transparent. I have a trip planned to Fort Detrick with Kristi Noem, the director of DHS, and with Jay Bhattacharya and other people in my agency who are experts on bioweapons, who are experts on gain-of-function research, and we are going to be absolutely transparent. We've also proposed a methodology for regulating and for determining what is dangerous gain of function and what is legitimate scientific investigation, and how to bring the public into that debate, which I think, as you point out, is absolutely critical. That is where we messed up last time. And as you know, We have some of the Democrats here who are, talking about the great science from NIH, but now we have major agencies, intelligence agencies, the CIA, the FBI, the DOE, and the State Department have all agreed that NIH research almost certainly led to the pandemic, the COVID pandemic. So that's not the kind of the result that we should be allowing or enabling, and we're going to end that now.
If possible, the trip to Fort Detrick and to NBAC, we'd like to be included or invited on that trip if possible.
Absolutely.